Hey, good evening, everyone. So good to see you here. It looks like we're going to have a few late stragglers because there's a fraction of the number that are supposed to be here. And it's all good. And I'm just, like, as usual, very excited to share and talk with you guys. So I'm going to wait until a few more people arrive before I ask you some of the questions that I have prepared for you. However, I know you can see my screen right now, and on my screen is the syllabus for this class, and I got asked a couple times about the syllabus for the class, so I wanted to share it with you all. And I got asked about what assignments were due when and that type of thing, so I wanted to make sure that everybody has what they need to receive this. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of go in here, I think it is. I want to show you where they are. They're in the library. If you go in the library, it says kind of just something silly here, not much. So you have to actually hover on the menu and click Documents. And when you get into the Documents, you'll see that there is Business Program Development Business Development Program Syllabus. So the syllabus is located in the library under Documents. And the syllabus looks like this. So it talks about the purpose for the class, the strategic goals, the tactical goals, and the resources that are available to you, which I'm sure you're pretty familiar with: the learning guide, the membership site, the core values index, the IE, and the career development system overview and draft report. All of this is in the membership site here. So the strategic learning guide is here, strategic learning, and this is one that you'll want to have and use during this class. And it's like kind of weird to be going over this stuff on the the first day, but truly, I mean, we should have been sorry, we should have gone over it the first day, but some people didn't see that video and were unaware that we had done it. So this is kind of like a review. Anyway, so you have your program syllabus here, your learning guide here. If we go back to the syllabus, it talks about the core values and the IE. You know where those are. And then the systems, career development system overview and draft report. So let's go find out. It's right here at the top. So your syllabus, your learning guide, and this has such great information. I just highly recommend you read it and absorb it and get it, because it's really good. It'll help you. These are kind of tools that will help you for the rest of your life. Why not, right? Jump in. And the career development system is walked through here. Now this report is available to all the members, but however, so this is actually these 3 documents available to all the members in our system. But only the career development system, this is only available to those of you that have paid for the business development course. So the career development portions that you see are only available to you and not to any of the other members, and that's because you're enrolled in this class. Okay, so we wanted to make sure you knew where all your resources were. And the schedule is from 5 to 7, and we're going to have 4 sessions. We're on our 3rd session tonight, so we are going to have a review of the map and reflections. And again, remember that this self-directed learning workbook, which we showed you in the library, I'm going to go back over here again to the library and the documents. It's this document at the bottom that we're talking about here. That document has 4 parts: explore, discover, design, and implement. And tonight we're kind of focusing on the design part. So you want to be looking at this and going, we've already kind of gone through explore and discover. We're in the design. There's one more section to implement. And you want to be going through this at least 1 part per week. And it is due on November the 2nd at 11 p.m. So in the workbook, you can see the information for submitting the documents there. Okay, so everybody knows what the workbook is, and everybody knows now what assignment is due and when and what it includes. This is the guide for attending the classes, and we are in session 3, so today is the 16th. And the next session will be on implementation, as I mentioned. And these are some, or this is a way that you can document your attendance, although we have your attendance captured in our webinar system. So, all right, let's see. Okay, I have a question, so I'm going to see if I can answer this question. Joy says, oh, I don't see the changing pages. Thank you, Joy, and that would be because I didn't have my screen showing, and if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known. So what I was doing is I was going back over here to the library and showing the document that's the Career Development System report here, the Business Development Program syllabus here, and the Strategic Learning for SLA Engagement Guide is here. So that's in the library. You have to hover over the menu and click on Documents to get there. And the syllabus is this document here that we were looking at here earlier. We were talking about the different resources you have, and the schedule is here, and membership in an area to keep track of your requirements and your attendance. Okay, Julie says, I'm confused. Do we have 5 people for a CVI assessment and another 5 people for IE? Yes. Or should it be a total of 5 people assessment for both tools? You know, Julius, you can mix and match however you please. So, you know, that's great. That's really great question. And you know, if you did both tests on the same people, it would give you much more in-depth information on them. And if you changed it up for a couple of the assessments, you know, maybe that would be an interesting thing too. Maybe you'd see how much you missed by not doing both, which would be interesting. Jocelyn asks, which handout are we currently viewing on the screen? Okay, perfect. Great question. So if I go back over to the document, the document that we're currently viewing is right here, it's the syllabus. It's the program syllabus in the middle there. So if you right-click, you can save the document, or left-click on it. Of course, not on my screen. You'd have to be logged into the membership area and do the click on your screen with your login. But if you left-click, it will open up for you. So that is the middle document on that page of documents. Okay. That was a great question, Jocelyn. Thanks. Okay, and Paul Rand says, thanks, Joy. Yep. Joy says, haven't seen anything. Okay, I think you got it now. Yeah, Jocelyn says now she got it. Okay. Can't get the volume. Any suggestions? Okay, Celeste. Okay, now she says she's okay. Great. Handled that. Great. Linda is here. Okay, and yeah. Okay, Joy says we're cutting in and out. Okay, if I talk consistently at the same volume, does it still cut in and out, Joy? Okay, okay, Ellen says somehow it's showing me as Paul. Yeah, it is showing you as Paul again, Ellen, so thank you. Thanks for letting me know that. Okay, got through all the comments on that one. Now I have a poll for you, and this is really fun stuff because it goes in real time, and with everybody here we can ask these questions. So I'm launching this poll, and it says the attendees, the poll must be closed to enable screen sharing, but I'm not going to close the poll until you guys are all ready, and then when I close the poll, it will be done. So here's the question, and it's asked, how many people did you share the IE assessment with? And as you answer the questions, you can see the percentages. So 20% so far, 17% 0, 17%, 14% 0, okay. 44%, 36%, 2 to 4 people. Keep going. This is really cool. Like when let me know. I'll just kind of guess when I've got about 13 responses. I'll give you another few more seconds, and then I'll share the results on the screen. I love live polls. It's like nice to. It's like, what is that? I want instant results, so I know what's going on. which makes it fun. Okay, I think everybody's got their stuff, and I'm going to close it. And now you should, I'm going to share it. And so now you should see it on the screen, and I'm going to verify that everybody sees it. Okay. Can everybody see the polls on the screen? Just anyone type a yes into the chat box, that'd be great. Okay, great. So you guys can see it. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, so interesting. 38% of you did not get the CVI or the IE sent out. So my question is, for those of you that did not, and you'll remain nameless, by the way, so don't worry about that. It's not. This is not to call anybody out or embarrass anybody or anything. But in the chat box, confidentially, you can share with me the reasons, because this is important for us to know. If you didn't follow through, and it was your client, let's say it was your client who didn't follow through and do this, you'd want to ask them the same question. So what got in the way of you sending this out to at least one person? Go ahead and put that in the chat box for me, and I won't call your name out. Okay. Yes, to Jocelyn's question, we are talking about the improved employee assessment, and the question was, how many people did you share the assessment with? And we got back a resounding 38% said nobody. And so I'm trying to understand what got in the way of that link to the assessment being sent out. So, okay, one person says they thought they had to have the whole team ready in place before sending out the assessment. And they talked to a number of people and they agreed to do it. That's awesome. Okay, so now that you've talked to a number of people, highly recommend you get that sent out. Another person says, I haven't conducted my client intake yet. Okay, that's really well and good. However, you don't need to really conduct a client intake to share the link. So I would highly recommend that you share the link with 5 people, and then you can use the results of the report to engage somebody that you might want to conduct that new interview with. Okay, another person says, I never got my results, so I hesitated to send it out without me even endorsing it by seeing it. So for the person that never got their results, we will show you where the results are tonight. Okay. All right. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so that, it's important for us to know the reasons behind this. So if if you're having trouble getting in, or you weren't able to find your results, or knowing whatever is stopping you, it'd be great if you sent an email to customer support at strategiclearningalliance.org with any questions that you have, because the expectation was last week that you would have shared this with 5 people. And so now that we know a few of the things that got in the way, I just want to say congratulations to the top 15% who got 5 or more sent out, and the other 8% of you got 1 sent out. That's awesome. 38% of you got 2 to 4 sent out, and so even to the 8%, the 8% of you that sent out 1, I'd ask, what held you back? Let me ask that question. What held you, the 8% back, what held you back from getting your link sent out to people? Okay, I'm going to wait for answers there. And I see, Celeste, that you have a question. You have your hand raised. So I'm going to unmute you And go ahead and ask your question, please.
Oh, no, that was when I first came on, so no question.
Okay, thanks, Celeste. Okay, all right, so this is important, you know, just for us to understand what kind of got in the way. So I didn't get any more answers on that one. But okay, so for the 38%, two to four people, that's pretty good. 2 to 4 people that you got it out to, you know, and if it was 4, it seems like it just one more would do it, right? So another person says, I sent my 4 out, but no one took it, it seems. Okay. That's disappointing. However, just like I'm following up with you all and asking what got in the way, we want you to follow up with the people that you sent the link to and ask them what's getting in the way of you taking that assessment. It's only 10 minutes. Okay, so another person says, I was dealing with other business issues in a different business entirely. Okay, totally understand that. Okay, so kind of what I'm hearing is life got in the way, things got in the way, people didn't respond, and I understand that. So the process of learning is iterative. So going through the process first is okay. So I would ask, you know, first is, did you use the tools yourself? And if so, would you type in which tool you did use? If you don't mind, go ahead, and if you use the tools at all, which tool did you use? Okay, I've got only the IE, CV, and IE. CVI was, okay, and IE, IE and CVI, IE and CVI. So quite a few people have done both. Okay, very interesting. Okay, quite a few have done both, and a couple have done one. And then, okay, yeah, that's the question. Thank you. It's which ones have you done yourself? Okay, all right, cool. So I have another one says both. Okay, so most of you all have taken both, which is really, really great. So next month you are all going to have a special opportunity to provide others with membership access so that they too can share the gift of learning to 5 people per tool. Now that's really exciting, because can you see how this can expand your network and expand your visibility out there with other people, and really come to know people on a deeper level, and that type of thing, if you know what I mean. This is such a great way to strike up a relationship with somebody that you want to know, that you want to engage as a client, that you want to engage as a friend, that you want to engage as an employee, that you want to engage as even your boss. I mean, come on. Say, hey, you know what, even your, whoever it is that you report to, this would be a great tool to share with them too. And it'd be great to share your results of your soft skills report with them as well, right? So we want to help you with these questions so that we can help you properly engage those who you gift access to, so they're able to share a passion of learning that occurs when you all engage tools with the purpose of learning. So, I mean, it's really fun to share these tools. I think, in my opinion anyway, it's really fun to share these tools with people and get to know them a little better, and kind of look at them like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that was true for me, and, you know, I don't even know if that is true for me, and then have another person who's your mirror validate for you, you know, because I know that if somebody's taken it and you're like, really? Did I do that? That's really me? I don't know. Talk to somebody else that does know you and ask them, is that true for you? Do they see you that way? And get confirmation one way or the other, so you know. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you another document here, and that is the step 3, and this is the learning document. So in the document area at the bottom of the screen, this Strategic Learning for SLA Engagement. This is the document we're looking at now. We're looking at, let's see, what page does it say we're on? Page 16, which is step 3, which is where we are in the course, and that is the design phase and creating an applied map by analyzing the tools. Now, I want to do a couple things before we get started going down this path. And one of them is I wanted to ask another question and another poll asking, to most effectively engage people, what do you do first? And I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. And this is a multiple answer, so you can check more than one box here, I believe. So, to most effectively engage people, what do you do first? So far, I've got only, it looks like one person. Okay, a couple of people. Here we go. A few more people are chiming in. That's great. Thank you. Okay, it looks like the numbers have stopped changing here, I think. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go look at this. Okay, so 17% say they inspire people with what they know. So just from a perspective of wanting to know what your thoughts are in the classroom here, if you could just, a couple of you put in the chat box, are you inspired when somebody talks to you about what they know? I just want to see, is it a yes or a no, or a so-so? Yes, no, or so-so? Not no, 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 yes, yes, no, 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 so-so, sometimes. Okay, contingent. That's cute. Another sometimes, another no. Okay, so mostly just, take that in. Whoever, of the 17%, take that in. It's, it's nice to know that you're not going to inspire somebody too much by what you know. Okay. Only 8% say that inspire them by what you show or demonstrate. Now, I think especially when you're trying to engage somebody, there needs to be something more than a demonstration, although sometimes a demonstration is a good way to engage many. So on a one-to-one basis, if maybe you won't be inspiring with what you know, and maybe you won't be inspiring with what you show. However, if you're presenting in a webinar where it's expected that you would be engaging people that way, yes, your message has to be engaging, and it can be done where you are showing them what you know because they expect that because they're coming to a webinar where they want to learn. And secondly, you're going to be showing them what you know by doing that. So there are instances when that does work. However, one-on-one, not so much. Okay, so 25% of you say inspire them by sharing a vision. And I am very inspired when somebody shares a vision with me, is if they are involving me in their vision, right? So if somebody's sharing with me a vision, let's just say, I don't know why this popped into my head, but I'm going with it. Somebody just say, I wanted to, I can see us both at Disneyland riding the roller coasters and spinning upside down, and I think we would have a lot of fun doing that. Now that's kind of a vision. And somebody's sharing it with me, and since Disneyland's the happiest place on earth, I probably would want to join them. So sharing the vision, all right? Now, if you inspire them by sharing your experience, 75% of you said you would inspire them by sharing your experience. So what that says to me is that a lot of you here are kinesthetic. And it's not that big of a surprise because people that are people, which you are, or you wouldn't be in this class, if you're people, then you are going to be kinesthetic, and one of the best ways that you connect and relate to people is through your kinesthetic process. So this makes a whole lot of sense to me that you would, 75% of you would say that sharing your experience is how you would go ahead and relate to people or effectively engage them at first. Ellen says, 1, inspire, then 2, share the vision, and 3, demonstrate, and 4, share when they want to know or they're ready to know. Now that's a beautiful sequence. I love that. You know, inspire them by sharing sharing the vision, right? I mean, an inspiration is you get, if somebody is seeing you and they're watching you and they're saying, wow, I see that they've changed. I see that they're making changes for the better. That's awesome. I got to ask them what they're doing. Now you've already inspired them before you open your mouth, right? Because they're going to come to you and find out what is it that you're doing. Why are you happy all the time? I actually had somebody ask me that at a job once. Why are you so happy all the time? This is when I was software development in consulting. I wasn't coaching yet. And the answer is because I do what I love and I have a purpose in my life. And I know what my purpose is and I'm on my path. And it makes me happy to know that. So I feel happy all the time. And I think then sharing the vision is the next thing. And that's what I shared with them. I said, you know, I have a community, a support group. It's, you know, a spiritual group that I get together with. We meet once a month, and that just picks me up and lifts me up and keeps me inspired. And I am living a life that I'm passionate about, and that's inspirational. And I'm, you know, I'm moving in a direction that is uplifting. So the third thing that Ellen said was demonstrate. So you're already, by being that inspirational person that's already demonstrated, they're already attracted to you for what you are sharing in the world, for who you are being in the world. They're attracted to you. Then the next thing, you've kind of already demonstrated, the next thing is sharing with others how you got there and saying, you know, it would be great if you were on this journey with me, because this is a really amazing journey. We're all working to inspire others, to help them be on a path of purpose and passion, to help them be on a path of engaging and giving back and being of service. And then when you've shared from that perspective, which is a bigger perspective, you know, it's not the me, it's the us perspective, they're going to want to join you and be with you, and they will come to you, and this was point number 4 that Ellen shared, they will come to you when they want what you have, when they want to know what you know, when they want to have the experiences that you're having. So this is a way to attract people to you, and if you've heard the expression attraction rather than promotion, this is done by demonstrating the being of who you are, who you need to be in the world, and bringing your authentic self to the picture. So before we get started on this map, and I'm going to turn this over to Paul to walk you through the map, before I do, I just want to say we've kind of covered in our first session the exploration phase, and I think now you understand everything that's available to you, whether you are watching this in a review of this session or not. We kind of bounced around and showed you the different documents, where they are, what's in them for you to look at and use in your exploration phase. We talked about the discovery phase. Last week we walked through the IE and focused on how to use that tool. We walked through the CDS system at a very high level. And the point is to help you move from understanding and analyzing to the point where you could actively engage somebody. So I'm going to hide this tool now, or hide this result. Okay. Discovering tools is meaningless if you're not going to use them and rely on them. These tools are so important they've passed the independent research test and have demonstrated to be at least 90% valuable in engaging people. 90%. And you think about that. That's huge. That's a huge number of people to be engaged with you. And knowing that, let's say you wanted to reach out to somebody that you've seen in the hallway, but you don't know. You say, hey, excuse me, would you mind if I sent you an email with a link? It has this assessment test. It's really fun. We'll get to know each other a little better, and I would love to do that, right? I don't know, how does that sound, right? So you can kind of meet somebody in the hallway and just open up a conversation talking about the IE and the assessment. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is use the tools. Share them with your friends. If you haven't done so, do it, because guess what? When you do, you're going to make new friends. You're going to be able to share your experiences, which, according to what you all just shared with me, 75% of you believe that the very best way to engage others is through sharing your experience. And if it's sharing your experience, then that is something that you can do through this tool. You can say, hey, you know what? I want you to do me a favor. I'm in a class and I need to share this tool with a couple of people. And you know what? I've been seeing you around for a long time. I really wanted to get to know you, and I think this is really a super way to do this. When you're done, let's share. I'll share my results of my soft skills report with you, and you can share yours with me, and we'll get to know each other better. What do you think? I don't think they're going to say no. Anyway, it's your choice to share and reference the tool and to be able to naturally engage people based upon their strengths. Isn't that a great way to develop rapport with somebody, to review the soft skills report with them and then to review yours with them and just say, wow, look at these ways that these things that we have in common. And then if you did it with the core values and you got to those results, and you can say, wow, I can see you're really passionate about this, and it's I could see, hey, it's obviously one of your core values. So it is for me too, and here's what I'm doing about it. What are you doing about yours? Okay, so now that we know how it went last week, I kind of wanted to know if you had the time to take people through these or anything like that. Okay. Let me ask this question now, because I know a lot of you did the CVI. Have any of you shared the CVI tool with anybody else? Because we just talked about sharing the IE last time, and now we're talking about sharing the CVI. Did anybody already share the CVI? And if you did, go ahead and put, yes, I shared it, and how many people you shared it with. That would be really interesting for me to know. Okay, so it looks like okay, so I'm getting quite a few people have already shared it so far. Got it permission from 3 people. That's great. Expecting to share with 4. Great. Yes, with 2 people. Nice. Interesting. It seems like, okay, so one of our master coaches, who I'm sure lots of you know, is Linda Galicchio, and she just shared in the chat box that almost 20 people that she talked to that had taken the CVI, that are coaches, were the same two things, merchant innovators. And merchant innovators, it's so interesting because, you know, I think coaches, our creative coaches have the love and wisdom, and, you know, we're passionate about our purpose, and we're passionate about people. It's just kind of really makes a whole lot of sense. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, can everybody see the step 3 design and applied map on the screen? I just want to make sure. Okay, great. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so Merchant Innovator from Ellen says, that's me, Merchant Innovator, passionate for people. I love that. Okay, great, great. Okay, so does everyone know, and I have a feeling you may all know, but if you do know the answer, just go ahead and type it in the chat. How do you learn more about the CVI tool and the results and what it means? I got the answer. That's the correct answer. Only one person, though. Yeah, okay. Yep. Oh, right. Spot on. Spot on from some of you. Okay. So let me just share the answer, since I got a couple right answers and 2 out of the ones that submitted. Thank you, everybody, for participating and playing. The answer is, survey says, the CVI handbook, which is in the career development system. It's not available. Let's see. Let's go find out where it is in the website, right? Go to career development design phase 3. Would it be there? It's here somewhere. I'm going to find it. Okay, not here. So here we're going to go back up to I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's not here. It's in the, I'm in the wrong spot. CVI. Core value. Here we go. This is where it is. And the understand your results, of course, that's where it is. So there's the core values handbook, and it's in the core values area under understanding the core values index. So getting that book or reading this book, it says right click here to save it or left click here to open it. Yeah, and if you actually want to get a hard copy, you can buy it on Amazon. I don't know if I put the link in there for Amazon, but I don't think I did. But yeah, if you chose to buy it, you can get it on Amazon if you want the hard copy. Okay. Okay, before we go to the map now then, I just want to share with you that one of the very powerful aspects for the Core Values Index is that it's designed to measure the top performance of who is best for a team. In the information from Collins recall from the first course, he proved that the 11 great companies focused on who first. The CVI measures common skills for who would be best. Okay, before we get started, we're going to watch a video again that reviews the theory of mastery, autonomy, and purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and start this video in just a second. Let me see. Before I do, I'll say one of for a job or a role in your organization or on your team, you would want to know who the best person is, and the CVI can help you get that. It's part of the tool that's designed to immediately know who would be a great fit for your team and the roles you want to fill. Now, Jocelyn had a question, which was, how do I find the results of my clients' assessments? Now, in the IE, if you distributed the link that was in the IE system the results are going to be right there under your team builder area. For the CVI, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know, but we will have the answer for that right when we're done here, or before we're done here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me see if I can get this video going where you guys can hear it. And, all right. Let me know if you can't hear it, please.
Our motivations are unbelievably interesting. I mean, I find I've been working on this for a few years, and I just find the topic still so amazingly engaging and interesting. So I want to tell you about that. The science is really surprising. The science is a little bit freaky. Okay, we are not as endlessly manipulable and as predictable as you would think. There's a whole set of unbelievably interesting studies. I want to give you two that call into question this idea that if you reward something, you get more of the behavior you want. If you punish something, you get less of it. So let's go from London to the mean streets of Cambridge, Massachusetts, the northeastern part of the United States. And let's talk about a study done at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Here's what they did. They took a whole group of students, and they gave them a set of challenges, things like memorizing strings of digits, solving word puzzles, other kinds of spatial puzzles, even physical tasks like throwing a ball through a hoop. Okay, they gave them these challenges, and they said to incentivize their performance, they gave them 3 levels of rewards. Okay, so if you did pretty well, you got a small monetary reward. If you did medium well, you got a medium monetary reward. And if you did really well, if you were one of the top performers, you got a large cash prize. Okay, we've seen this movie before. This is essentially a typical motivation scheme within organizations, right? We reward the very top performers. We ignore the low performers and the other folks kind of in the middle. Okay, get a little bit. So what happens? They do the test. They have these incentives. Here's what they found out. 1, as long as the task involved only mechanical skill, bonuses worked as they would be expected. The higher the pay, the better their performance. Okay, that makes sense. But here's what happens. But once the task called for even rudimentary cognitive skill, a larger reward led to poorer performance. Now, this is strange, right? A larger reward led to poorer performance? How can that possibly be? Now, what's interesting about this is that these folks here who did this are all economists, 2 at MIT, 1 at the University of Chicago, 1 at Carnegie Mellon, okay, top tier of the economics profession. And they're reaching this conclusion that seems contrary to what a lot of us learned in economics, which is that the higher the reward, the better their performance. And they're saying that once you get above rudimentary cognitive skill, it's the other way around, which seems like this kind of, the idea that these rewards don't work that way seems vaguely left-wing and socialist, doesn't it? It's kind of this kind of weird socialist conspiracy. For those of you who have those conspiracy theories, I want to point out the notoriously left-wing socialist group that financed the research, the Federal Reserve Bank. So this is the mainstream of the mainstream coming to a conclusion that's quite surprising, seems to defy the laws of behavioral physics. So this is strange. It's strange finding. So what do? They say, this is freaky. Let's go test it somewhere else. Maybe that $50 or $60 prize isn't sufficiently motivating for an MIT student, right? So let's go to a place where $50 is actually more significant relatively, right? So let's take the experiment. We're going to go to Madurai, India, rural India, where $50, $60, whatever the number was, is actually a significant sum of money. So they replicated the experiment in India roughly as follows. Small rewards, the equivalent of 2 weeks' salary. Small performance, low performance, 2 weeks' salary. Medium performance, about a month's salary. High performance, about 2 months' salary. Okay, so those are real good incentives. Okay, so you're going to get a different result here. Well, what happened, though, was that the people offered the medium reward did no better than the people offered the small reward. But this time around, the people offered the top reward. They did worst of all. Higher incentives led to worse performance. What's interesting about this is that it actually isn't all that anomalous. This has been replicated over and over and over again by psychologists, by some extent by sociologists, and by economists, over and over and over again. For simple, straightforward tasks, those kinds of incentives, if you do this, then you get that, they're great. For tasks that are algorithmic, set of rules where you have to just follow along and get a right answer, if-then rewards, carrots and sticks, outstanding. But when the task gets more complicated, when it requires some conceptual creative thinking, those kinds of motivators demonstrably don't work. In fact, money is a motivator at work, but in a slightly strange way. If you don't pay people enough, they won't be motivated. What's curious about, there's another paradox here, which is that the best use of money as a motivator is to pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table. Pay people enough so that they're not thinking about money and they're thinking about the work. Now, once you do that, it turns out there are 3 factors that the science shows lead to better performance, not to mention personal satisfaction. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy is our desire to be self-directed, to direct our own lives. Now, in many ways, traditional notions of management run afoul of that. Management is great if you want compliance, but if you want engagement, which is what we want in the workforce today as people are doing more complicated, sophisticated things, self-direction is better. Let me give you some examples of this, of almost radical forms of self-direction in the workplace that lead to good results. Let's start with this company right here, Atlassian, an Australian company. It's a software company, and they do something really cool. Once a quarter on a Thursday afternoon, they say to their developers, for the next 24 hours, you can work on anything you want. You can work on it the way you want. You can work on it with whomever you want. All we ask is that you show the results to the company at the end of the 24 hours in this fun kind of meeting, not a star chamber session, but this fun meeting with beer and cake and fun and other things like that. It turns out that that one day of pure, undiluted autonomy has led to a whole array of fixes for existing software, a whole array of ideas for new products that otherwise would never emerge. One day. Now, this is not an if-then incentive. This is not the sort of thing that I would have done 3 years ago before I knew this research. I would have said, you want people to be creative and innovative? Give them a freaking innovation bonus. If you do something cool, I'll give you $2,500. They're not doing this at all. They're essentially saying, you probably want to do something interesting. Let me just get out of your way. One day of autonomy produces things that never emerge. Now, let's talk about mastery. Mastery is our urge to get better at stuff. We like to get better at stuff. This is why people play musical instruments on the weekend. You have all these people who are acting in ways that seem irrational economically. They play musical instruments on weekends. Why? It's not going to get them a mate. It's not going to make them any money. Why are they doing it? Because it's fun, because you get better at it, and that's satisfying. Go back in time a little bit. I imagine this if I went to my first economics professor, a woman named Mary Alice Schulman, and I went to her in 1983 and said, Professor Schulman, can I talk to you after class for a moment? Yeah. I got this inkling. I got this idea for a business model. I just want to run it past you. Here's how it would work. You get a bunch of people around the world who are doing highly skilled work, but they're willing to do it for free and volunteer their time, 20, sometimes 30 hours a week. Okay, she's looking at you somewhat skeptically there. Oh, but I'm not done. And then what they create, they give it away rather than sell it. It's going to be huge. But she truly would have thought I was insane. Right? It seems to fly in the face of so many things. So what do you have? You have Netflix powering corporate servers and Fortune 500 companies, Apache powering more than the majority of web servers, Wikipedia. What's going on? Why are people doing this? Why are these people, many of whom are technically sophisticated, highly skilled people who have jobs? Okay? They have jobs. They're working at jobs for pay, doing sophisticated technological work. And yet, during their limited discretionary time, they do equally, if not more, technically sophisticated work, not for their employer, but for someone else for free. That's a strange economic behavior. Economists who looked into it, why are they doing this? It's overwhelmingly clear. Challenge and mastery, along with making a contribution. That's it. What you see more and more is a rise of what you might call the purpose motive, is that more and more organizations want to have some kind of transcendent purpose, partly because it makes coming to work better, partly because that's the way to get better talent. And what we're seeing now is, in some ways, when the profit motive becomes unmoored from the purpose motive, bad things happen. Bad things ethically sometimes, but also bad things just like not good stuff, like crappy products, like lame services, like uninspiring places to work. That when the profit motive is paramount, or when it becomes completely unhitched from the purpose motive, it just, people don't do great things. More and more organizations are realizing and sort of disturbing the categories between what's profit and what's purpose. And I think that actually heralds something interesting. I think that the companies, that organizations that are flourishing, whether they're profit, for profit, or somewhere in between, are animated by this purpose. Let me give you a couple of examples. Here's the founder of Skype. He says, our goal is to be disruptive, but in the cause of making the world a better place. Pretty good purpose. Here's Steve Jobs. Only want to put a ding in the universe. All right? That's the kind of thing that might get you up in the morning and racing to go to work. So I think that, that we are purpose maximizers, not only profit maximizers. I think the science shows that we care about mastery very, very deeply. And the science shows that we want to be self-directed. And I think that the big takeaway here is that if we start treating people like people and not assuming that they're simply horses, slower, smaller, better smelling horses, if we get past this kind of ideology of carrots and sticks and look at the science, I think we can actually build organizations and work lives that make us better off. But I also think they have the promise to make our world just a little bit better.
All right. Thank you so much for your patience while that played. It's pretty informational and interesting, and got a lot of good stuff there. Okay, so exit out of this, please. Like, okay, bye, everybody, go. All right, we're back. So we are here on the design and applied map by analyzing the tools. And I just want to share one more thing about the CBI, and that is, how great is it to be able to follow up with somebody once they've taken it? The CBI results require that you engage somebody. Imagine saying, hey, I explored a tool in the class. It's a really interesting tool that really helped me to understand more about myself. And maybe you could give it a try. Would you mind? Let me know when you've taken it. And it just takes a few minutes. And then we can kind of compare and, see where we're at. And then when you follow up with them, or even better if they let you know, or you ask them, what are your core values? Did you read all the information? What did that tell you about yourself? Did you read it all? There's a lot more. Did you watch the videos too, right? So you want to have them share their access with you on their screen and review through it and ask them to read parts of the report. The goal is to help you better know who first by asking them questions that inspire them to engage the tool and share more about themselves. In other words, in this situation, imagine sharing a passion for self-exploration. Giving in service by sharing the tool and taking the time to ask them questions is helping somebody to become more aware of who they are. So as we all agreed with the poll, the best way to inspire them is to share your experience. So then once you've done that, you ask, I have a chance to help you learn more about 5 others using this tool. Normally it costs, but I can share access to the Strategic Learning Alliance so that you can share this tool and receive a 200-page book about the tool so that you can really understand how to use it. And you can use it to improve your work relations, engage others, promote learning in your organization or in your role as a coach. It's just a great tool. So yeah, I think you guys understand and get the idea. It's just reaching out and sharing the experience with others, and you're going to get to know them better, and you're going this is a great way for those of you that are thinking about putting together a team of people to do work together. If you're thinking about it, how better to know the people that you want to bring into your group to work with, right? So use the tools. They're powerful. Share the tools. It's something that is going to help you to engage people. And truly, this is what this course is about. It's about engaging others and being able to have a conversation with other people that gets them excited and passionate to learn more about who they are, what their purpose is here, and certainly these tools will help to identify that with everybody that you run into. So now I'm going to turn this over to Paul to talk about the map. And Paul, do you want to have your screen showing, or how would you like to do this?
No, that's all right. If you could actually just show your screen and maybe scroll down to the sample map. You had it there earlier. I believe it's probably in the appendix of that document.
Yeah, hold on. I think so too. Is that it?
There we go. Yeah,
okay. All right. Thanks, Paul, very much for doing this. All right.
Well, welcome everybody. I appreciate your time this evening. Barbara asked me to come in and have a discussion with you about the third phase of strategic thinking, the design phase. And so when we think about learning, I want to try to help you recognize the power, and the reason I asked Barbara to show that video again, it's Daniel Pink just does a phenomenal job at really capturing a lot of very important tools that are truly necessary to enhance engagement in the organization. So whether you're a workplace coach, whether you're a project manager, whether you're in HR, what we know is that 87% of human resources, these are the folks that are involved with the people strategy, the leveraging the soft skills, helping to get more from people. 87% of HR professionals report that the number one challenge they face it is the ability to have individuals in the workplace who are engaged, and it's not just the HR professionals. The Gallup Institute reports that, those of you who heard me speak about this before, that literally on average in the nation, there's only 18% of the workforce are what we call the oh yeahers, and that's what Barbara was talking about earlier, when she was saying, when she was doing software development. Why is it you come to work, you say, oh yeah? And what Daniel shows in that video is when people have a purpose in mind, they're better engaged. They see, oh yeah, I'm ready to get to work. I want to do big things. I have a purpose. And what we find, though, is that Daniel Pink did a great job at really synthesizing the follow-up work that is led to the development of the information era. And as he's describing that, it's when the profit motive or the industrial era is removed, we start to see people really engaging in the workplace, engaging other people, and how ironic he was talking about how they do that in service. They give their time. In other words, that they get so passionate about their purpose that they work harder and produce more because they're excited about being able to get out there and give of themselves, and it's not about the money. Now, this isn't to say that profit is bad. Without profit, your organization will fail, and that's the reason that we're seeing just massive, rapid movement in the human resource industry, trying to put HR professionals out of a silo and throughout an organization, because these are the people who are involved in the business of the people strategy. And these are the folks that are necessary for the organization to really inspire a vision of an engaged workforce. Now, here's what we know. What we know is that the 21st century organizational excellence model is going to be built, though, on a foundation of learning. So go back about 2-3 years ago when I first started talking with Daniel Pink after he produced his book on drive theory. I really started challenging and saying, I think you're heading in the right direction. The mastery, autonomy, and purpose, it's what I define as a map. And so, because what I find is that the average person in our research, the average organizational professional, only knows strategic thinking about 20%. So in other words, if I pull together a whole organization and I put them through a series of tests or opportunities to demonstrate their ability to think strategically, literally, the strategy, it comes out of just a very small group. It's kind of the same situation where only 20% of the workforce is engaged, where Tailored Protocols is presenting their tools showing that, hey, this is about recognizing the top 20% contributors. Well, only about 20% of the company really is involved and understands strategic thinking. I said, the key to ensuring a profitable is not to focus on the profits first, but it's to ensure the profitable output. And it's what that requires is that the engaged workforce, that everything be built in the 21st century first by learning to think strategically, learning to act strategically, but then doing so while driving forward with personal purpose. And that's what I described back in lectures and publications in 2011, 2012, was think of strategic thinking as your roadmap. The key destinations are your personal values, the destinations on a trip that you will meet. So Daniel and I had a number of conversations about this several years ago and are re-engaging in dialogue, because what we found over the last few years is the power of leveraging learning first, inspiring a vision to help others learn about themselves, giving of your time to engage because you believe in a purpose and discovering your own purpose. And even if you don't know quite what it is yet, just the act of starting to share that inspired vision, give of your time to help another individual learn more about themselves. And that's what really launched us into this investigation to say, hey, do these tools actually work? Are they reliable? And what we found in both cases, 92 and 94% reliability. These are phenomenal. I've researched psychological assessment tools for years. There's nothing even close to these because these tools truly touch on the human operating capital system. I'm going to get that to a moment. Because when we're thinking strategically and we're inspiring the passionate engagement of the workforce, when we're giving ourselves in service, these tools are just chock full of information. And that's where, again, we see the importance of learning. So one of the key components of the SLA program, the reason it's designed the way it is to really help every individual start to develop the capability of thinking and acting strategically. And what this involves is the three-step process of exploration, that is asking questions, gaining a good understanding. Who's to benefit from this? What are our opportunities? What are different ways we can innovate solutions? Thinking very big pictures, no wrong answers, and that's really defined by exploration. Discovery is the habit of using tools to help people shift from the industrial age, everything's got to be about the profit, I'm disengaged. No, it's about shifting their paradigm to looking forward because they've opened their eyes, they've gotten passionate, they realize that, hey, if I give of myself and I engage others and we start talking some big ideas, I'm going to find that one of my coworkers has some really interesting strengths that I don't have. But if we're really focused on the message of Collins of who's first, well, we're going to have that person with those strengths kind of focus on roles in their job and in their workplace that they're really passionate about. Because, again, Daniel shows us there's research funded by the federal government, by academic universities, private enterprise. It shows time in and time again, you get better results if people are inspired by an individual purpose. When you get people in a group of people, and this is what's so critical for the workplace coach and for the human resource, even for the project manager, where you're working integrated with an entire team, you want to get them all on the same page. You want to get them on a page of who is naturally good at what and how. Because we know who our team is. So what does it want to do, and how do we structure to support you in doing what you want to do? Now, here's the consequences. You get everybody together on a foundation of learning. As you explore and discover tools that identify strengths and opportunity, what happens is the total antithesis of the industrial era. You've got 5 minds coming up with and wanting to go 5 different directions. That's kind of a problem if we still are talking about profitable output, but not when we move into the design phase. By leveraging the tools that you've been learning about in the program that Barbara's been putting on, you'll find that the key is to put these ideas, these inspirational passions where people have started to focus on new opportunities, understanding their strengths, you want to put it to a map, the mastery, autonomy, and purpose. Now, what I want to talk to you about tonight is the importance of understanding how to use the map as not only a habit, but as a tool. So we learned from the Dr. Covey in the 1990s that the habit of effectiveness is actually a 2-part process. The first process occurs in your mind. It's the first creation. The second part is when you actually put it to paper. Now, the SLA has been researching this for a number of years, and what we know is that if you're working even by yourself and you start to discover using the tools the SLA provides new ideas about what you want to do, what your purpose is, you want to keep it really short, really simple, but you want to put it to paper. What you'll see on the screen here is the outline for what we call the MAP. Again, the acronym, Mastery, Autonomy, and Purpose. But it ties directly to the strategic thinking model. When you focus on your purpose, take Steve Jobs, his idea of I want to leave a dent in the world. That's how simple but powerful purpose is. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that Apple hasn't put a dent in the world. And that was the creation of Steve Jobs. Skype, we almost all use it daily in various formats for learning, for business, for personal communication. It has literally shrunk the world so we can be in touch with anybody in the world, and we can even see them on the screen. They said we want to be disruptive, but for great purposes. I think we can agree that Skype is definitely disruptive, but you can also do a lot of great things. I want to emphasize, when you create a map, keep your purpose high level, keep it meaningful, and really dare to dream big, and I mean that. And whether you're working in a team, dream big. Make your purpose a nice, short slogan, something that is big, meaningful, and really just one sentence. So when you put that to paper, you see on the line there, it says purpose. And I just, real quick, I'll see on this one it shows it's a learning plan, a map, a team plan. It doesn't matter. The map is this structured template that you all have access to in your resource center. What you do, though, is then you start to think about, well, what are our big goals? Maybe it's in marketing. You're passionate about marketing. Maybe you're the HR rep, and it's you got big goals. You got 25 people that get hired this next year. You start to think about those 3 to 5 year objectives, and that is your strategic goal. And I know as part of the learning you're going to go through next week, you're going to work through the process of setting a strategic long-term goal. You know, something 3 to 5 years down the road, as opposed to what you're going to do tomorrow and the next couple of months. So you start with those big goals. Then you start outlining, well, in order to get there in 3 years, that's what Dr. Covey calls the, habit 2 of effectiveness, is to begin with the end in mind. So the end is this purpose, and here are some 3 or 4 goals to help get me there. The process of the map, the instructions you'll have will tell you, you should only keep it to about 4 to 5 sentences, 1 sentence per big goal. What you see there, though, is then the tactical objectives. Those are the steps you're going to take. Maybe it's about engaging others and building your team. Maybe it's about starting to analyze and come up with plans for a business proposal, or excuse me. It's really the next steps. I can see them right here in the next week. I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's what's defined by the tactical. And you'll notice this is all put in an outline format. It's meant to be kept short, to the point. This is meant to be a one-page living document. So in some cases, if you're working in a team, you may identify key roles to help you achieve these objectives. If you're working as a coach one-on-one with somebody, roles are also life roles. Remember, when people are thinking big and they come up with a purpose like, I want to leave a dent in the world, that's a big purpose. They're going to probably have some pretty big goals to what that means to them. They're going to have a lot of steps to get there. But what we know is that the effective individual who gets passionate, who's willing to give over their time and service, and is an applied learner, that they balance life with work. So it's not work-life balance. That was the common phrase that came out of the profit and industrial era. But it's better and more apt to say it's life-work balance. So even if you're working one-on-one as a coach, when people do start to get excited, they're going to want to work, and they're going to say, oh yeah, I want to get to work. It's important to caution them to remember that their life roles are just as important. Like I said, when we engage individuals who are still operating in the top-down profit model of the 20th century, you'll find that you say, well, what are your roles? And they're going to talk almost explicitly about work, because work-life balance was the big, we're going to achieve work-life balance. Well, gosh, that sounds like doing 80% of work and only 20% of living. Well, in the 21st century, the organizations that are most effective, just like Pink described, they're the organizations that ensure that their employees, that their contributors are focused first on life, balanced by work, because work is a catalyst that can help get you more of what you want in life. And that's why I want to emphasize this. Pink's message isn't that profits is bad. It's just, let's focus on the passion, the mastery, and the autonomy first. Now, this is important because as you're working one-on-one, if you're working with a team, you're an HR position or a project lead, when you've got all these exciting ideas coming forth, you want to ensure that each person has the autonomy and the ability to focus on the matters that are important to them. And so using the map is your tool to work with a person one-on-one to put their ideas to paper, to make sure that they have the process to planning a schedule, to holding themselves accountable. For those of you that are in the class that I know, or there are a lot of you who are certified coaches, this is an absolute must. Any business professional needs to be challenged to create their own map. What we know is that individuals who go through the process of really clarifying their individual purpose, who understand the difference of a SMART goal as opposed to just a goal, what we know is that the people who write a SMART goal, who put it to a map, are 85% more likely to attain that goal in half the time they think it will take them. So in other words, if a person writes this map and says, I'm going to do, to leave a dent in the world, in the next 5 years, I'm going to launch 3 companies, and I'm going to employ 27 employees, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to learn to ride horses and speak foreign language. And they put it to a map like you see on the screen. 85% of them will achieve those goals if they take the time to develop the habit of putting it on paper, get it out of the mental creation. They get excited. People get really excited. Challenge them. Put it to paper. You can even tell them, hey, research supports this. It's been empirically proven. If you put it to paper, you're going to be 85% likely to achieve that goal. When you then continuously engage with that person, continuously support them in a process of being passionate about their map and working towards their map, not because of the money, but because it's what they believe in, because it helps them get up in the morning and say, oh, yeah. They realize they start looking at challenges as opportunities. They have this document they can review. Sometimes they'll review it daily, sometimes maybe just once a week. But what we know is that if you continuously engage them and you reference this single sheet, so and those of you who come from the business realm in terms of labor relations and negotiations, we know it's called the single sheet negotiations. Get everybody on the same page here. This single sheet, we know that if they put it to the paper, that on average they will achieve those goals in half the time if you continuously engage them and hold them accountable to this map. Now, what is really great is once you put it to paper once and they start moving, ideas and new opportunities start to build. And you'll see then that this map becomes a living document. Every time you engage it, whether it's weekly, maybe it's once a month as a coach, maybe if you're in HR, it's once a quarter. Ask them to bring their career map. Have them go through the process of evaluating where they at. Start with the purpose. Work your way through it. Have them make the adjustments right there on the spot. Spend that time. Give that time. It's important to reinforce that they put it to paper and that they continue to crystallize their goals. Maybe they will learn and discover more about themselves. But the map becomes the opportunity to continuously ensure that they are looking forward and living a life by design. And when they do so, the research shows emphatically that you can create an employee who is 80% engaged. Now, for those of you who may be in HR or maybe responsible for project teams, the same tool can be used for an entire team. Imagine each person on your team has a single sheet map with a nice comprehensive schedule. And you can see just an example. The workbook you're given gives you 3 or 4 examples. You know, the schedule, again, that's the autonomy. Everybody sort of thinks and visualizes planning differently. So let the person just choose the schedule that works for them. Just make sure that they've used a proper schedule. So using the tool, using the template, each individual puts in information that is autonomous and meaningful to them that will give them forward-looking steps to ensure their mastery. Now, imagine you got a team of 7 people, and you line all those maps up. And you say, okay, let's talk the same concepts. What's the purpose of our team? What are our team's overall goals? What are the steps necessary for our team to achieve short-term tactical objectives to get there? What kind of roles are necessary on the team based on where we're going? Well, now imagine that you got 7 people because you've taken the time to engage them one-on-one. Every one of them is going to know this is the type of work that causes me to get up and say, oh yeah, in the morning. That's the type of work I want to do for this team, and it looks like we've got a role for that, so that's the contribution I want to make to this team. Maybe it's not my job title. Maybe it means I'm going to have to put in extra hours because it's not on my job description, but I'm going to do it for the team because I know that will cause me to get up in the morning and say, oh yeah, we got a team meeting. I'm looking forward to telling them what I've just discovered about marketing because that's what I said I would do. It's what I want to do. So now as you've taken these 7 examples and you've just reduced them now into a single team map, what we find is the results are equally strong. The teams that do this are 85% more likely to achieve their stated goals. The teams that are led through this continuously, and they continuously use this map as a single text for their group meetings, they're 85% likely to attain their goals, and with proper engagement, coaching, and mentoring, they're going to achieve those goals in half the time they expect. That's pretty powerful, because when you have a group of 7 people who are now producing 80% output, well, Dr. Covey describes that as synergy. The law of 1 + 1 could be affinity. Excuse me. The idea is that when people come together and they start sharing their passion, sharing their interests, you're going to discover and design ideas that could have never been achieved before. And what that requires is, really an emphasis on the speed of patience, because you're being patient by engaging each individual team member. You're being patient for the team's collective ideas to come on board. Maybe the team kind of has a shakeup and 2 or 3 new members come on board. But either way, you take the time, you're being patient. Say, we're going to focus on effectiveness as a team. That's what HR wants from employees. That's what the top wants. We have the chance to do that. So we're going to take the time, and it's the speed of patience, because we know if we take the time to do this, whatever goals we set out, we're 85% certain we're going to attain them. So that puts us right there in the top performance levels. More importantly, we've got a good chance at actually attaining it even faster than we think we will, as long as we are just effective and diligent about keeping our map updated. So when you take this one tool and you start to apply it both one-on-one with individuals, when you apply it with a whole team of 7, 8, 9, 10 to create just a single map, look how powerful that becomes, because now you not only have your team's agenda before you go in, everybody who joins your team has a map of where your team is heading. They'll know exactly, how you're aligned, the roles that you have, and the goals you're going for. So new members are able to get to work faster. They're able to contribute more because your team isn't sitting there spinning wheels worrying about who's going to do what and what's on their job description because that's what they're paid. No, your team is focused on moving forward because your team is united by their individual passion and their collective passion. And when you use this single text, you'll find that ideas, they'll start to come out. And that's what I was saying. You'll start adding dialogue that you have in your group sessions. You'll start to modify your goals. You'll reword them a bit. But when you're using this map, it makes it very simple, very quick to then identify new designs with creative, innovative ideas, the same innovation that Daniel Pink was talking about in his video. And so there's your single tool that can unite each individual employee, each member then coming together as a team, and you continuously use this as your agenda. You use it as your working document so that as your team discovers new opportunity, innovates new solutions, your team starts moving forward with the speed of innovation. As fast as you guys can start thinking of it, as fast as you put it to your map, your profitable outputs start to be delivered. And when there's more profit, then you've got more people coming saying, hey, we want on board with this team. Everybody's talking about what this team's doing. What do we do to get involved? Do you see how that process, it's real simple. Daniel Pink showed that. Lots of research has done it. SLA has validated this across the board. And when you begin with a foundation of learning, when you endeavor to take the time of the speed of engagement, because we know it can be very quick. Barbara's been sharing you a lot of tools for how you can engage somebody and know exactly who they are and all the time it takes them to complete an assessment. So when we leverage the speed of engagement, when we leverage the speed of innovation, and we leverage the speed of patience by thinking strategically, well, now we have all of these individual autonomous ideas. They start snowballing, and we literally back into a profitable strategy. The map is a crucial part of thinking strategically. What I can tell you is that 8 out of 10 professionals, they like exploration, they like asking the questions, they like the brainstorming, but they shift immediately into implementation. They don't take the time to be patient, to engage. They don't take the time then to engage one-on-one and put it to a map. They don't take the time to then look at all the individual maps and create one more second creation, as Dr. Covey described it, saying we've got all these individual maps. Let's take the time to really crystallize our go forward, look forward team map. But when you do, when you're working with each individual and they're learning to think strategically and act strategically, and when those individuals are doing the same in their teams, the research indicates, hands down, be it from the size of a nonprofit with no time, no money, and nothing but the heart of volunteers to Fortune 50 organizations and larger, each and every time that this has been tested, it produces a 3-fold ROI. Now, that is so big, most people who are stuck in the industrial age, they don't believe it. They don't believe it. They're just used to the fact that, well, no, we just have 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. That's just how it is. That's really unfortunate. But what I can tell you is the early research coming out identifies that the new generation, the millennials, as they enter the workforce, they already get this. They've already seen their moms and dads, even their grandparents, slog through the work-life balance theory. They've seen them put in the half days. They've seen them shaking their head saying, oh, no, I got to go punch in, punch out. They've seen, oh, man, I got bills to pay. I'll just keep working until I pay my bills. They've seen this. They've watched it. They've got Apple phones thanks to Steve Jobs and his mission and purpose of leaving a dent in the world. And they know better. When they enter the workforce, which by 2021 to 2025, 70% of the workforce will have been raised since post 9/11 and into the workforce from their cognitive learning, they will know nothing but the technological advancements. And they're going to expect that their HR professionals, that their workplace coaches, that their organizational managers, they will expect that you adhere to a passion, service, and learning model to engage them. And if you don't, they won't care about your product or your profits, and they will walk out of your company. And they won't think twice about it, and they'll probably YouTube it while they do it. So one way or the other, each one of you is challenged with helping to literally work one-to-one to engage your peers, engage your clients, to helping them recognize that there is a new age and profits are good. The profits are good because you help people explore, discover, and take the time to patiently design their map, because once they have the opportunity to go to work knowing that they're going to do work that they enjoy, that they love, that is helping them move them closer to their purpose, like I said, this has been studied and tested. It is a 3-fold profitable return for the organization. So when you look at the template, it doesn't seem like it's all that much. And it really isn't, just like the tools. But it's really that dare to take the time to be patient and ensure that you model the way as a leader in your organization or in your professional role to help people walk through those steps, leverage the tools to help them discover more about themselves, help them discover more about their teams, and put it to paper. The results are the results. So I thank you for your time tonight, and I know there's a couple of you we'll be having the opportunity to meet with here later tonight, but I'll turn it back over to Barbara so that she can continue her discussion with you on some of the tools that you have. And I encourage each of you, if you have not so far, take the time to write out a map and try it out first. Keep it real simple. Just create a map about how you will engage the Strategic Learning Alliance site to understand the tools, to discover which tools you like and how come. To think about different clients, if you're a coach, or different team members on various teams you may manage, of who you can share these tools, and really design a plan that will ensure that through the month of October and November that you really take advantage of the opportunity that SLA has provided you by sharing these tools with, what is it, I believe it's five tools, and I believe that you guys are also getting access to the membership site that you can share as well. I mean, this is a pretty powerful gift when you have that opportunity to share and inspire learning in others and helping them discover that the new era is here, and that if you just keep it simple and follow the instructions in the manual, that you really will achieve a lot of profitable results for the organizations that you support. And that is the expectation, because like I said, we've got a ticking clock. And what we know is that the companies that successfully execute on the Explore, Discover, Design method and that promote a foundation of learning in all employee engagements first, those companies will be listed as the excellent organizations of the 21st century. So just like Collins identified 11 that outperformed in the stock market by focusing on who first, well, organizations already know. HR professionals already expected to focus on who first, and the SLA is providing some pretty powerful tools to doing just that instantly. So that's why the Explore, Discover, Design model, to leverage that as your foundation of learning as you do go forth and engage and inspire others, get them excited about serving and promoting learning in others. That is the key method. That is what is going to be expected of every HR professional who is going to be throughout the organization. That is the strategy that will give companies the chance to be listed by, I guess we call it Collins the Fourth. In 100 years, they will say this is what the excellent organizations of the 21st century did. They leveraged professional learning. And as you guys start testing this, you're going to see the speed of innovation. It becomes mind-boggling, the ideas that are produced. But when we think about this, go back just to 2005. Flip phones were still kind of cool back then. How many people, the only people I know that use a flip phone anymore is because they know it's a relic they could probably sell on Amazon. Amazon, which nobody really used in 2005. Now, if you don't use Amazon, kind of the odd man out. Look at the innovation that has occurred as the results of the studies that Daniel Pink is referencing. As those results have become more and more known, people have said no more work-life balance. It's now life-work balance. I know my purpose. I'm going to work and I enjoy it. And I'm going to leverage tools and technology so that I can live my life and contribute to my organization and my work, because that allows me to move closer to my purpose. So these aren't academic theories. These are proven. This is reality. And I encourage you to really take this time over the next couple of weeks to hone the skill and be diligent about learning these tools, identifying which ones work best for you, whether you're a coach or a project manager or you're in HR. We all, a tool is a tool and it's meant to be used. Otherwise, it's just a hammer sitting on the desk. So use the tools, but take the time to create a map and really know the direction you're going to start moving the next couple of weeks even, because you're going to find that it really changes how you engage in the workforce, and it's going to really change how others choose to come up to you and say, hey, I really like what I've been seeing lately. How can I get involved with you? I'm impressed. How can I contribute? So with that, I'll turn it back over to Barbara. And for those of you who will be involved in our small team discussion later tonight, I look forward to talking with you then.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. That was really great presentation. You got some comments here and a couple questions. So,
sure, absolutely.
Julius is asking, what about those Nobel Prize winners doing science or economic researches? Were they included in the research?
Absolutely. Daniel Pink did his homework on this. The drive theory it's indisputable. I can tell you, Julius, having empirically researched this myself, the drive theory in terms of mastery, autonomy, and purpose, it works. The research that was funded was even funded from really big entities like the Federal Reserve, the IRS, Stanford University, Carnegie Mellon. These are pretty brilliant people who came across the research that Daniel Pink just did an amazing job at really synthesizing and putting into this common concept of mastery, autonomy, and purpose. So the research is well established, it's well founded, and I can tell you we are seeing shifts, not just at the Fortune 50 level, and they are shifting this direction, but we're seeing it all the way, down to small non-profits because the research is valid.
Awesome. Okay, and Ellen has mentioned about her daughter who has created summer program for boys and girls. She's getting ready to go into college, and she's got a grant for writing for other young high school students to continue with her program in the future. And so what she was thinking about was getting her her Girl Scout Gold Award. And Ellen said, "What would get you excited? What would you like to be involved in? What would you be passionate about? And what legacy do you want to make for other kids and teens in your community?" And so now at 17, she's at a Girl Scout convention with voting rights for the three-year Girl Scout strategic plan, which is being reviewed over the next 3 years, because she asked to interview and went from an ambassador and now to an advocate, and who knows where it'll take her. So that's coaching and
Wow.
finding out where somebody's passion is, right?
Right, and I just want to use that. Thank you for sharing that example. But Ellen, I'm going to have to try to track down your daughter. She was 17 years old, wrote for a grant and received it. I was on a phone with a small learning educational K-12 academy just the other day. And they've got a full staff of over 50 people. Well-established 20-year organizations, and they struggle with writing a grant. In fact, they've written a number of them, never received them. But I want you guys to hone in on the point there. The next generation, they see it already. They use YouTube and they figure out things like how to write a grant in ways that the rest of us, we haven't figured out because we are older and we say, well, it takes my time, so I want to get paid for it before I do it. No, they just focus on their passion and say, hey, I see an opportunity here. I'm going to use the tools like YouTube. I'm going to learn how to do it, and then they go out and do it because it's passion and service first. And then, what do you know? She got the profitable grant, something that I promise you, this is serious. This academy's been after for years. I haven't landed one. And it's not because they're not seasoned professionals and well-educated in K-12 academic delivery. But I really appreciate that example because, Ellen, that's 17. She's in the workforce here very soon. And we're going to see more and more of that, which is why we're all a challenge to say, hey, it's time that we literally rethink business and we really rethink this concept of the work-life balance and start focusing the way we know we'll actually get a threefold profitable return. Julius, again, we'll have a lot of research paperwork coming out that talks about everything I've shared tonight that demonstrates and identifies the empirical research that profits aren't bad. We can get more of them if we just shift the way we think, learn, and engage the workforce.
All right. Ellen had a question for you as well. And let's see if hopefully it's still here. Yes. Can you please, Paul, can you reiterate the point of passion, service, and what that resonated? What will be expected of this generation now coming in?
So passion, the model that Barbara's been walking you through, and this is a great question because it's multidimensional. So I want you to think of explore, discover, design. In your workbook that says step 1, step 2, step 3. That's to emphasize. Don't skip to step 4, which is implementation. 85% of workplace employees go from step 1, maybe a little step 2, and then straight down to step 4. So step 1, 2, 3, explore, discover, and design. From a perspective of engagement, the human resource asset to be able to inspire better life-work balance in your coworkers and your direct reports or your clients is to share that inspired vision, get them passionate, and that to do that you give of your time, and that's the service. And you do it with the output, the profitable output. The design is to promote their learning. And so that was 1, 2, 3, explore, discover, and design, passion, service, learning. Because what we know is that those are the foundations necessary to getting people out of a codependent state on the profit-first industrial model. Get them to a new place where they can start looking forward instead of looking down saying, well, the boss is mad, somebody's going to get fired. I just hope it's not me, so I'll just punch in, punch out, disengage. 80% of America's workforce is disengaging. What we know is from the workforce that is now starting to enter, 25 down to 12, based on academic performance, based on learning performance in the schools, what we know is that they're going to come into the workforce with levels of 85% engagement because they are focused on passion, service, and learning. So you want to start to get your employees that have been in the organization 15, 20, 30 years who are well attuned to the top-down, industrial age, profit-first mentality. Help get them to a state where they can believe in themselves. And that's where you want to leverage that skill of engagement by sharing a vision and passion, giving of your time to walk them through tools that help them learn more about themselves.
Thank you, Paul. Awesome, awesome. Jocelyn says, great observation of millennials, and true. I have 2 of them. Let's see. Michelle says, awesome. And it's so funny how fast the generations are going. Ellen says that her 17-year-old wanted a pager when she was 3 years old, which was 14 years ago. And her 11-year-old doesn't know what a pager is because he didn't grow up when pagers were around. So it's, I mean,
And my 8-year-old thinks that she should have a cell phone. The best one is, well, when I'm 10, if I'm mature enough, I'm going to have a cell phone. Like I said, the world that we've all known has already changed. It is a ticking clock. The excellent organizations of the 21st century are going to trust the research, but for the first time since the industrial age, they're not going to look backwards and wait for the research. They're going to start with the research first, Julius, and they're going to look forward and go with it and trust with it that we have really seasoned professionals that have spent time rolling up their sleeves and digging into this information, that have identified this is the way of the future. And when we help our organizations and our peers, our teammates, get out of that codependent state of profits first and get them innovating, and we're patient and we're helping them think and act strategically through the explore, discover, and design model, is threefold. And we'll have a publication out in 2015 that will be featured by the SLA that documents all the research that shows, empirically proven, it works. And it's because you get people in your companies to a state where they're willing to learn in anything and everything they do, so that they look forward and they're continuously learning. Now we're gathering data and looking forward, as opposed to waiting for the data to come out so a guy like Jim Collins can say, well, if I look back 50 years, I can tell you what these 11 companies did. Don't you wish you were one of the 11? Now we're literally in a position, because of the speed of innovation, that we can learn and think strategically and innovate at the speed of patience.
All right. I have another question from Jocelyn. She's asking, would you agree that small businesses would be a great training ground for the implementing these tools first before going to corporate America?
I like how you asked it. Would you agree? Great question. The time clock is ticking, Jocelyn. I do know, for those of you involved with the SLA, Barbara and the SLA team is rolling out a phenomenal small business learning academy to help roll these out. But really, these tools, they've been researched and tested. They work. There's a lot to these tools, more so than has been covered in this program. So what I can tell you, Jocelyn, is our research has spanned from startup nonprofits that are literally bound by one obligation, that they cannot see profits first, to Fortune 50 organizations and larger. And in all cases, top to bottom, left to right, these tools, these methods, what you're learning about leveraging learning in the workplace as applied professionals, by engaging with the speed of patience to ensure that every employee, not just 20% of them, think strategically. It doesn't matter the size or scope of the organization, Jocelyn, the results are always threefold. It's powerful enough that from the Society of Human Resource Management, HRCI Institute, every bit of research over the last few years shows that this works, period. So I would say that if you are interested in small business work, I think Barbara's going to have really great and exciting ways to leverage these tools and get involved with small businesses. And they work there just as much as they do in the big companies.
Okay, thanks, Paul. I think that wraps up all the questions for this section. So, okay, it is 6:41. We got about 20 minutes left, and my thoughts are that we can take this 20 minutes. I'm gonna kind of ask you all. If we take this 20 minutes and we can work through the CDI assessment together, which, I think that kind of stuff is fun. And let's see, I want to make sure that we are aware of what's coming for next week. That's important. Is there anything else, Paul, that you can think of right now that I need to make sure we cover in the last 20 minutes? Oh.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I know.
I'll hang here if there's questions, but otherwise.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. I think we're good for the questions on the topic of the map and mastery, autonomy, purpose. So I had those two things. One is, would you like to go through the CVI together and walk through it and understand it and take it and see how it works for those of you that haven't done it before? One, I want to make sure you okay, I get a yes please on that one. All right. And the other question is to make sure that you know what's due coming up. So coming up, we are going to ask some of you to conduct what's called a teach to learn exercise. And that means doing a presentation to a community, whether it's this one or a different community is fine. But we're going to ask you to create a presentation. Maybe it's a half an hour long. And in the presentation, what we would like to see you do is to walk us through an IE tool or a CVI tool. In other words, you're going to be teaching about a tool to somebody else that hasn't ever used the tool. So, okay, so I got one vote for let's do something new and different. I got a couple of people who would like to walk through the CVI, and I got something new and different. So something new and different is what I'm talking about now, James. And that is that we would like you to go, we call it a teach to learn, means that you're teaching people what you've already learned. But when you are working through something and you are getting ready to teach someone how to do it, you are going into that topic at a deeper, I'll just say you're taking it deeper than you would if you were just kind of looking at it for your own learning purpose. So teaching to learn, there's two great points of it. One is that people will learn from you in your teaching, which is great. And the second thing is that you will be learning your topic in great detail. So that will make it easier for you to share your topic. And so we're going to ask you to pick what topic it is that you'd like to do and let us know. And this is optional for some of you. For some of you it's not, and you know who you are. But for those that it's optional for, if you want to go ahead and send us a topic that you'd like to teach to learn on, you can keep it to a 20-minute talk, or I'd say no less than 20 minutes. We want to learn, and it's pretty exciting because we'll be able to put together what we're going to call a summit, which is when a lot of people talk on a similar topic, which we're going to have a similar topic because it's going to be the career development system. You can talk about the career development system, you can talk about the IE tool or the CVI tool or whichever tool you want to share on or teach on, you pick. We'll try to make sure that we don't have too many that are duplicates, or if you do want to talk about the same topic, maybe we'll put the two of you together. So this is kind of one of your projects that's going to be due in November. We want you to be able to do a presentation. So, okay. Are there any questions about that before we go further? Okay, that's okay. So Ellen is saying she would like to teach on something other than the CDS or the business development program that we're doing right now. and it's regarding Stephen Covey, and anything with Stephen Covey is absolutely acceptable because he was such a leader for us, and yes, it definitely ties to the material anyway. So thank you. Yes, that would be great. And if you're going to share a video clip, that cannot be the bulk of your presentation. It's okay to share a video clip as long as it's a small percentage of your presentation. For instance, maybe 5 minutes out of 20 minutes, it would be okay. Okay, any other questions about doing a teach to learn presentation? And this is for you. Here's what I want to recommend. For those of you that are employees, I'm going to recommend you do it on some topic that would really be beneficial to you bringing information to your team at work. And if you are self-employed, I'd recommend that you do a presentation that will introduce people to one of the tools so that you can use it on your website. If you put a presentation together and we record it on a GoToMeeting session, it will create a video that you can just pop right on your website for marketing material, or you could share it in your Facebook page or your LinkedIn page or that kind of thing. So if you're self-employed, that's one way to go. If you're an employee, think about the company and what would benefit anybody in your company to share with them, which Stephen Covey fits. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't really need a video to see how you present. We're going to just count on you to do a great presentation. The ways that you can present are, Paul had no slides to present for you. I typically, when I'm doing a presentation, I will have slides for two reasons. One, it's a visual aspect to a presentation, and two, it's nice to, I don't know, it's like having an index card set for me if I was doing a speech and people have index cards to help them stay on track with their topic and the message that they want to deliver. That's what I look at. My slides are like my index cards. They're high level, but I know what I'm going to say for each slide that I have. So you want to, if you don't have PowerPoint, you can use Google Drive. Google Drive has the ability to create documents in it, so you can use your Google account, go into Google Drive and say file new, and you can do a new presentation. So you don't even have to have the software. You can use Google's software to create the presentation, and if you need other skill sets to develop the presentation slides, let us know, and maybe we can point you in the right directions for those. Okay, so are there any other questions about doing a presentation? So James, are you still glad that you asked for something new and different? Sorry, okay. All right, so yes, okay, good. Okay, good. You know, this is going to be good for you. It's, you know, it's challenging you to be creative. And you can do the thing like explore, design, and deliver again. You're going to explore the topic that you want to share. You're going to discover things about it. Then you're going to design your PowerPoint presentation, and then your implementation is to deliver your presentation to an audience. So what we're going to do is that for those of you that are interested in participating, we want you to send an email to customer support at strategiclearningalliance.org and give us your topic. Okay, so this is what you have to submit. Okay, your topic, your headshot from you, a picture, a photograph, so that we can put that on the summit page, because we're going to set you up. We're going to create a page. It's called the summit, and that people can come to, and you can invite people, and you can invite people to the full summit. For everybody that shares can be invited. Now what this does is it puts you into a place of an expert status. So it's allowing you to be the expert that's going to do a presentation in the summit. So we're going to set up a web page for people to register. Sorry, my phone just won't stop. We're going to set up a presentation. Seriously, okay. We're going to set up a presentation for a a web page for people to register to come to the series of the summit. And we will schedule, you need to let us know which day is good for you to do it and what time between, like if between 5 and 7 o'clock at night is a good time to do it. We'll put the schedule up for the summit, and then we'll have you do your presentations. We'll record them. We'll put the clips up on the same page once they're recorded, kind of like I do in the website for our webinars that we do in the membership area every Tuesday. So is this site on the screen? Is this it? No, Ellen. We will create a new web page that we will use for the summit, so that I'm thinking there might be 3 different summits. A summit for people that are employees and we're doing their presentation for their work. That would be a separate summit. A summit for people that are self-employed. That would be another summit. Or people that probably coaches which are self-employed, or anybody else that's self-employed would want to go in the self-employed summit. So I'm thinking we'll have probably 2 pages, and the 2 pages will be simple. It'll be the headshot that you all send me. It'll be the description of your topic that you're going to send me. So in the email that you send, you can say, I'm doing self-employed summit, or I'm doing employee summit. And then you would say, here's the topic I'm going to cover. My headshot is attached. Here's a small bio on my background. And now what you've just done is you just prepared a media kit for anybody that wants you to come and speak. Anybody that wants you to come and speak for them, you can use the email that you send me as a template to send to other people that you might want to speak for. And so it's an important thing for you to have, to be able to send out easily. In fact, I just got a request for the same information. I'm going to go speak up in Toronto, Canada in November. And I just got asked for my headshot and also my bio and the topic that I'm going to talk on. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. And I should, I do have stuff together, but not for the specific group. So I'm going to have to modify mine to go out to this specific group. So this is brilliant that you're developing, it's another level of professionalism, whether you're an employee or whether you're self-employed, to be able to do a presentation like this. When I was working for a company as a software developer, one of the things we did was we had, I forget the exact name of it, but basically it was a brown bag lunch and learn. And so at the lunchtime, people would be doing presentations on the systems that everybody was working on, but not, in that company, the systems were so in depth that a billing system was separate from the rating system, which was separate from another system, and not everybody knew what everybody did. But at the Brown Bag Lunch and Learns, people got a great idea of what was going on throughout the company. So those are some ideas just thrown out there, and we got about 6 minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions regarding the summits? When do I need the information? Please get it to me by next Thursday, because if you get it to me by next Wednesday, then I can prepare the web pages and have them for you so that you know where to send people to register. And here's something else that I'm going to do, and so I do need time to set it up, is I'll send you the email to send it to, and once again is customer support at strategiclearningalliance.org, and I'll create the 2 different pages, and I will set up a link for you to send out to, and then you will know how many people responded. So the link is going to have, it's going to be what's called an affiliate link. And if you use the affiliate link to send out to your to people on your email list that you'd like to invite to see your presentation, you will know who clicked the link. So that's kind of exciting to be able to get access to information like that. Okay, any other questions? All right, Paul, do you have any other comments before we wrap this up? We got 5 minutes.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Any questions of me?
Okay, so anybody have any questions for Paul before we wrap up? Okay, I did get a question about the documents. Again, I want to just pop back over to here and show you in the library under documents. I logged out. Logging in. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so in the documents area, we have the Career Development System Report. We also have the syllabus for the class, which is the document that we looked at first when we started, and then the Strategic Learning Guide, which again, I highly recommend you take a look at that. This is the Strategic Learning Guide, and it talks about how you can earn your 8 CEUs if you're a certified professional coach or negotiator or human resource associate and you need your continuing education units. This is how you can earn 8 continuing education units. There's 24 CEUs due at the end of 2 years. If you look at what this says here, the experience is a 2 to 4 hours max, and that's to get through all of this information. Now, when you think about that, this document alone could take you a little while to go through because it's pretty big. But look at the key things here. Keep it simple. Read, understand, and apply. And if you read this document first and go through all the steps first, just kind of reading and getting, you can skim it and get an overview of what you're looking at, kind of like I'm doing right now. We're just kind of skimming, looking at the pieces of it, right? You can get a lot of great information first, and then you can go back and start applying what you learned when you skim the document. So this is very thorough, this document. It's cross-reference. It's when it mentions a document, there's a link to it. So like here for the reflective statement, you go see your example here, the instructions are here. I mean, everything's cross-referenced to make it very easy for you. When you're done with your reflective statements from this process, you're going to want to turn them in to recertification at strategiclearningalliance.org. That's the email that you would want to send things to. So just to clarify, this is for turning in your reflective statement, which is 2 pages. And when you turn in the reflective statement, it goes to recertification. When you turn in your I'm going to speak, and I have your and I have my picture and my bio and my topic ready, you're going to send those to customer support at strategiclearningalliance.org. Okay, I think we're just about out of time. Anybody have, I didn't get any other questions, so I guess we did a really good job. That's what I say. Here's the reflective executive summary. You can see that you're going to start with a background, your goal, a plan, and the summary. And just know here in the red section, this is just hints for how to make it a great reflective statement. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, all of you, for joining us this evening. It's been great to have you here. In case somebody isn't aware, in order to access the videos, which are in the, like if we go into the library under videos, you can see the last 2 recorded webinars we did. Here's our session 1, here's session 2. If you want to review anything, the password is capital P, capital E, capital A, capital K, so capital PEAK 2014. So you can watch those. So if I, for instance, PEAK caps 2014, then I can say watch the video and it comes right up. So there you go. All right. If there's no other questions, then I'm going to say have a great week. Don't forget to send me your emails and get those assessments out to 5 people, both on the IE and the CVI. And yes, the same person can do those. And we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Bye now, everybody.